my question, and you don't have to raise your hands or anything, but how many of you have done something really stupid in life? And if you're answering not me, you're probably not thinking hard enough. But when I was in the 6th grade, I did something incredibly stupid. At my school, everybody was into this thing called launching. Now, let me explain that. To launch someone, all you would do is you'd take a person that's getting launched, usually like this normal-sized kid, and lay them on the floor, the gym floor, and then they would have monster-sized kids on each side. That's one normal kid and 2 monsters on each side of the kid, and the kid would reach his arms up off the floor, and the monster kids would grab his arms and count to 3 and yank him into the air as hard as they could. Well, I wasn't a normal-sized kid. I was a scrawny kid. I weighed 100 pounds on a good day, maybe. But I wanted to be launched. So I did it. I laid down 2 8th grade football players on either side of me, and I went flying through the air. It was incredible. It was exhilarating. So I ran across the floor to do it again. I laid back down, put my arms out to have them do it again. They yanked me up in midair. I was probably 4 foot off the ground, and my body started rotating. My upper body moved in front of my lower body, and when I came down, it wasn't on my feet. It was on my face, my chin to be exact. Ouch. So I went to the bleachers to regain my composure, and I had my hand on my chin like this. My jaw was aching. I had a splitting headache. I started to feel better, and I pulled my hand off of my chin, and there it was, in my hand, spilling over the sides, going all down my arm. There's just blood everywhere. So I went to the office, and they called my mom. We went to the ER, and 7 stitches later, the 2-inch gap that I had on my chin was closed up. In fact, my beard still doesn't grow hair there in that scar. So maybe your stupid story isn't that bloody, or isn't really even that dumb or stupid, but we all have that kind of story. We all have a time in our life where we felt like it should have turned out differently. The problem is, for most of us, it takes some time before we see ourselves as the problem of the story. I mean, for me, it was, it's not my fault that I busted my chin open. The guys were huge. They launched me before I was ready. The air conditioner pushed me in midair. I mean, I had tons of excuses. Why? Because it wasn't my fault. I didn't want to take responsibility. Responsibility, that's kind of a scary word, kind of. I mean, I want you to give me more responsibility so I can have more freedom, but I don't want to take responsibility, because that means that I have to admit that I make mistakes. However, taking responsibility is a big deal regarding wisdom. In fact, King Solomon says it this way in Proverbs chapter 9. It says, "Whoever corrects a mocker invites insults. Whoever rebukes the wicked incurs abuse. Do not rebuke the mocker, or they will hate you. Rebuke the wise, and they will love you. Instruct the wise, and they will be wiser still. Teach the righteous, and they will add to their learning." So in this passage, King Solomon lays out 4 different kinds of people: the mocker, the wicked, the wise, and the corrector. And he's speaking to the corrector and saying that each of these 3 different people respond differently to being corrected or rebuked, or to having to take responsibility for themselves. Now, instead of looking at how to be a good corrector, which we would all love to be, this time I want us to discover which of the other 3 we are, and how, if we aren't wise, we can get to the wise one. It says the mocker will hate you. Solomon says, when you correct a mocker, you will have a severed relationship. Mockers don't take responsibility. Mockers insult, and mockers hate. So here's a question for you. When somebody corrects you, right or wrong, do you get defensive? Do you cut them out of your will if you have one? Do you either out loud or in your mind say, "I thought you were my friend. Well, I guess that's wrong." If so, then you might be a mocker. The wicked will abuse. This is about retaliation. You have the audacity to correct me Just wait, I'll ruin your world. That's that kind of attitude. The wicked never take responsibility, they strike back. So is that you? Do you feel like you need to pay everyone back that challenges your decisions? You might fit into the wicked category. Or the third role is the wise person. Solomon says, rebuke the wise and they will love you. They will grow wiser still. They will add to their learning. Wise people take responsibility for their life. And when they get launched and face plant on the gym floor, they don't excuse it. They admit that they were being stupid in that moment. Wise people understand that most of the time, when people speak into their life, it's for their own good. It doesn't mean it hurts any less. It just means that they've accepted a different kind of perspective. So my question is, which one are you? Most of us would like to think we're wise. That's probably not the truth. Wise people are teachable. And to be teachable, you have to take responsibility for your life. So challenge time. Be honest with yourself. Are you teachable? Do you take responsibility for your life? Or do you blame others? Do you try to retaliate when people correct you? Wherever you are in the process, the jump to the wisdom chair starts with one decision. Take responsibility for your life. That's what wise people do.